The year was 1943. Right in the thick of World War II, a woman named Ruth Stout stood in her Connecticut garden absolutely losing her mind. But she wasn't losing it over the sounds of war. She was losing it over the plowman. In those days, farming had only one golden rule: if you wanted to plant, you had to plow. It was an unquestionable dogma: no plowman meant no food. And Ruth, nearly 60 years old at the time, was waiting in vain. Most able-bodied men were off at war, and machinery was a luxury few could find. Standing there amidst the weeds and frustration, Ruth looked over at a patch of forest right next to her garden. She suddenly realized a laughably obvious truth: nobody plows the forest and nobody fertilizes it. Yet why are the trees so lush and the soil as soft as velvet? She asked herself, if nature uses fallen leaves to cover the earth, why on earth am I exposing my soil to the scorching sun and breaking my back trying to turn it over? And so Ruth did something that every serious farmer back then considered insane. She grabbed some straw, threw it thick over the weeds, and declared, "I will never plow again as long as I live." Her neighbors laughed at her. They called her the lazy gardener. But that laughter died out by autumn. While their gardens were dried up and riddled with pests, Ruth's garden was exploding with life. Underneath that layer of straw, the soil was so moist and crumbly that she could plant her crops with her bare hands. No weeding, no constant watering, and best of all, not a single penny spent on fertilizer. She lived to be 96, and until her very last days, she managed her massive garden, spending only a few hours a week. Ruth Stout was the pioneer who laid the foundation for no-dig gardening. It is one of the most critical pieces of the puzzle in creating a self-fertilizing garden. However, to have a garden that is fully self-regulating, self-feeding, and self-protecting, just like a forest ecosystem, we need to combine no-dig with several other fascinating methods. If you want a garden where plants take care of each other and the soil gets richer every year, without you breaking a sweat, then this video is for you. Don't look away, because we're going to start building that garden right now. Every week, I share grounded insights on organic gardening and intentional living. Hit subscribe to ensure you're getting authentic, earth-first advice you can actually trust straight to your feed. To start building a self-fertilizing garden, we need to change how we treat the soil by following 3 core principles: no tilling, no bare soil, and no compaction. First, the rule is never leave the ground bare. When soil is exposed to direct sunlight, high temperatures kill off beneficial microorganisms and cause water to evaporate at an alarming rate. On the other hand, during heavy rain, the direct impact of water droplets creates a hard crust on the surface and leaches away vital nutrients. What you need to do immediately is cover the ground. Use whatever you have on hand: straw, dry leaves, grass clippings, or wood chips. This mulch layer acts as a barrier to retain moisture, suppress weeds, and most importantly, as it decomposes, it becomes a direct source of organic fertilizer for your soil without you having to lift a finger. Next are the principles of no tilling and no compaction. We often have the habit of tilling or digging the soil to loosen it up. However, this actually destroys the soil's natural structure and breaks the symbiotic fungal networks that feed the plant roots. To maintain fluffiness and aeration without using a shovel, you must design permanent raised beds. You need a clear distinction where the plants grow and where the pathways are. Once the beds are set, never ever step on the planting area. By removing the weight of human footsteps, the soil will naturally maintain its air pockets, allowing oxygen and water to flow freely. By protecting the surface and preserving the soil structure, you are setting the stage for underground organisms to do the work for you. This is the fundamental first step in creating a garden that feeds itself. Typically, when we talk about organic fertilizer, we think of building complex compost bins that require constant turning and months of waiting. But in a self-fertilizing garden, we do something much simpler called surface composting. Instead of hauling waste elsewhere to compost, you turn your garden beds into a nutrient recycling station. Whether it's kitchen scraps like vegetable peels and eggshells, or the stems and leaves left over after a harvest, don't throw them away. Simply chop them up and spread them directly onto the garden bed. Once you've spread these scraps, the next crucial step is to cover them with a layer of straw or dry leaves. This mulch layer keeps the moisture in so the waste decomposes faster while also preventing odors and keeping pests like flies away. This method offers a huge advantage that bin composting can't match. Nutrients soak directly down to the plant roots the moment decomposition begins. There is one more vital rule. When you finish harvesting your crops, except for root vegetables, never pull out the roots. Use scissors to cut them at the base and leave the dead roots inside the soil. These roots are a valuable food source for earthworms. And as they decay, they create natural air channels that keep your soil incredibly well aerated. By doing this, the concept of waste disappears from your garden. Everything born from the garden returns to feed the garden, creating a closed nutrient loop that eliminates the need for any store-bought fertilizer. Once you've protected the surface and set up your on-site composting, the next step is to harness the power of the roots themselves. In a self-fertilizing garden, we avoid monoculture. Instead, the rule is, always intercrop at least 3 different plant families on the same bed. Why do we do this? Because every type of root has a specific mission in improving the soil. First, we have the legume family, such as mung beans, black beans, or peanuts. These plants act as free nitrogen factories. Thanks to the nodules on their roots, they take nitrogen from the air and convert it into nutrients for the soil. Instead of buying chemical fertilizers, you simply interplant legumes throughout your garden. Next are the taproot plants like dandelions or any deep-rooted varieties. These are your natural excavators. Their roots pierce through compacted soil layers, pulling minerals like potassium and calcium from deep underground up to the surface. When their leaves fall or get pruned, these minerals are returned to the topsoil for shorter-rooted plants to use. Then there are the root crops, like carrots, radishes, or potatoes. Their job is to loosen the soil mechanically. As the roots grow and expand, they push the soil aside, creating gaps. When you harvest them, pulling the crop out leaves behind hollow channels that allow air and water to flow deep into the ground without you ever needing a hoe or a shovel. Additionally, you should include the allium family, such as green onions, garlic, or chives. Their roots and scent release compounds that repel pests and protect the surrounding plants. My practical advice is this: never leave a bed with only one type of vegetable. Mix it up, a row of climbing plants in the middle to utilize vertical space, leafy greens tucked in between, and a few bean seeds scattered around. This underground root diversity is the key to keeping your ecosystem balanced and nutrient-rich. A common mistake many gardeners make is trying to control everything through sheer manual labor. But in reality, you can't catch every pest or eliminate every disease on your own. In a self-fertilizing garden, we apply the 10% rule to hire nature's most professional employees to work for us. First, dedicate about 10% of your garden to water points or small ponds. It doesn't have to be large or fancy. Sometimes just a ceramic pot or a small, irregularly shaped puddle will do. These water points are ideal habitats for frogs, toads, and dragonflies, your highly efficient natural pest control team. One frog can eat hundreds of harmful insects every night, protecting your crops without the need for a single drop of pesticide. Next, allot 10% of your space to woody plants or trees. Trees provide more than just shade or firewood. Their deep roots act as massive pumps, bringing nutrients from deep underground up to the surface through fallen leaves. Additionally, the canopy serves as a home for predatory birds and pollinators. If your garden is too small, try planting at least a few perennial shrubs or fruit trees in the corners. Finally, create shelters for your allies. Instead of cleaning your garden until it looks like a spotless park, leave a pile of dry wood, some stacked stones, or patches of wildflowers at the edges of your beds. These areas become homes for lady spiders and beneficial microorganisms. The message here is simple. When you provide nature with a home, nature repays you with its labor. Instead of working alone, build a complete ecosystem so that these creatures can work for you for free. That is truly the smartest and most effortless way to garden. To wrap up, building a self-fertilizing garden starting today boils down to 3 core changes. First, stop pulling out roots after harvest. Leave them in to nourish the soil from within. Second, always keep your beds covered with organic mulch to protect the life beneath the surface. And third, Interplant legumes into any available space to activate your natural nitrogen-producing engine. These methods all point toward a philosophy that the master of natural farming, Masanobu Fukuoka, called do-nothing farming. Doing nothing doesn't mean neglecting your garden. It means stopping our aggressive interference with the land and allowing nature to do what it does best. When you understand and apply these principles, the garden will take care of itself, making your work much easier while still producing high-quality crops. Before we go, I want to know, what's the first change you're going to make? Which kitchen scraps or organic waste are you planning to save for your garden today? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any sustainable gardening secrets in our upcoming videos. I wish you a lush, thriving garden and a truly relaxing time working with the earth. See you next time.